Hello. Hi there. We are getting ready for a webinar with Dr. Q. Should be on in a second. Came on a little early. Just see if I can technically set this up. So I see we've got some participants. Say hi. Give me something in the chat if you're on. Just tell me who you are. Just put something in the chat room. Say, hey, I'm here. If you want to go ahead and put any questions you have or anything, that would be awesome. And I am going to try to connect this live on Facebook at the same time, but I had problems doing that yesterday. So go ahead and just start chit-chatting with the few people that are in here until I figure this out. See if we can get on any kind of Facebook here.
Oh, okay, so people are already on the call?
Yeah, we've got people here already waiting. We're not officially supposed to start for another minute.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Can they see me? Can they hear me? I'm asking. They can? Oh, hello.
Yes.
Hello.
So the people are here. If you can just write a little note in the chat. We've already got people coming on. We got some people from New York, Philadelphia. Got
oh my God.
People coming.
Hello and namaste, everyone. I am so excited to be on the panel today.
So it looks like we might be on my personal Facebook in a minute. Let's see.
Okay.
Go live. The thing with Facebook is when you
Linda.
When you do it through Zoom, it is a little bit behind.
I know. We just had a huge ceremony 2 days ago through Zoom on Facebook, and you're right. There is a time delay. There is. I know.
So if you want to ask questions and interact, if you could please come on Facebook, please, because. Are
you talking to me or are you talking
I'm talking to the general public that are listening. So if you want to interact with us and ask questions, it's better. You can type things on Facebook and I will probably see it. But if you type it in if you come onto Zoom and type it in the Zoom, it would be a lot better because there's not the delay. So everybody is asking, the big deal is, I don't know if I should say this till we get started. I mean, you're going to answer this as we go along, I'm sure, but everybody's asking the same thing.
Okay.
Can this reading show you anything that will be going on in 2020? In other words, if you had a reading and they said to you, in 2020, you're going to have a respiratory problem, you're going to have a major financial problem, you're going to have a health crisis. If that came up in your reading, well, first of all, would something like that come up in your reading? And if it did, would there be some punjas to fix that? Pujas to fix that.
P-O-J-S.
So we can answer that as we go along, but that's the big thing that everybody's kind of asking.
I'm sure everyone's asking that for sure. Yes, I know. Now, to right off the bat, if something is imminent.
Hold on 1 second. Let's just start because I think we're now on Facebook Live. So let's officially start now. So hi, Dr. Q.
Hello.
Dr. Q and I have been friends for a few years. And
for quite many years, actually. Yes.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it, but
I know.
It passes so fast. Anyway, he has an institute in India where he organizes Indian palm leaf readings, not palms as in reading palms, but as in palm leaves.
Correct.
And, I met him. I'll tell you later. I was intrigued by what he did. I ended up having a reading myself, which was
quite an amazing reading, I should say. Yes.
It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get into that. So tell us a little bit about, your background, how this thing works, how you do these readings. And
sure.
I know you personally does it, but how you organize to do these.
Sure. First and foremost, hello, good evening, namaste. My name is Dr. Q. I'm the founder of the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. And I'm stuck in Europe at my brother's house due to this pandemic. So all of Europe is shut down and there is nowhere I can go. Hence, I'm in a guest room at my brother's house. So you know where I am physically now in Central Europe. As I was visiting my brother, and then all the borders got shut down. So I shall stay here for a couple more months, I guess, until everything hopefully eases up again. Now, what happened is, first of all, as you realize, those of you can see me, I'm a white guy, so I'm not an Indian at all. And I hate to break this to you. So how come a white guy talks about something that's very Indian, not just Indian per se, it's very Southern Indian. That's the true India. That's where India really started. The rest, if you wish, the northern parts were added later on. So if you want to visit the true India, you got to go to the southern parts. And the biggest state there is called Tamil Nadu, a state that has 85 million that live in it, just to give you an idea. So it's not a small state at all. And the people there, they speak Tamil, as opposed to most of the rest of India that speaks Hindi. Now, saga has it that about 2,000-3,000 years ago, enlightened sages called Maharishis, great sages, Maharishi, wrote on dried palm leaves messages for people to help them overcome issues or find or get guideline and answers to major questions in their lives. And it's supposed to be found at the right time, whenever the right time might be. Whenever you're at the crossroads, you do not know whether you should turn left or right, whether there is a major decision for you to be made, then in India, you would go and seek a reader. That's a person who can find your palm leaf and then read it to you. You would seek a reader to find the answers. Now, the process is the exact same, no matter if you do it with us or if you're actually in India. And that's a 3-step process. Search for your bundle, matching, that's a palm leaf within the bundle, and then the reading. Now, how to go about that, just quickly. The magic lies in your thumbprint, as Gail knows. Left thumbprint for ladies and right thumbprint for gents. Every thumbprint has a name, a very distinct name, and that name describes you as a soul pretty well. And how the reader will go about finding your bundle. Now, what is a bundle? Regrettably, I don't have any props with me because I didn't expect to be stuck in my brother, so I only came with a small suitcase. I have nothing to show you, but I can explain to you what it is. A bundle is also known as a book, and a bundle contains up to 108 dried palm leaves, dried, physically, literally speaking, palm leaves, because 2,000 years ago, obviously there was no paper, so the only way to put messages and preserve messages was to literally etch messages onto dried palm leaves. And these palm leaves are about, I don't know, maybe 10 inches long, give or take, an inch or so wide, and very brittle, obviously, because they're dried, and they only survive 100 or 200 years, and they have to be rewritten again, copied over to newer bundles, newer palm leaves, and that's how they survived the past 2,000 years. Now, these dried, thin, brittle palm leaves are in bundles, or also known as books, and the bundle has a cover made out of wood, really, just to preserve it, and it's wrapped up. And these little bundles are stored all over southern India for the most part. And when you think of a library or an archive, coming from western parts of the world, you might think air conditioned, there is security guards, this and the other. Well, I had to break it to you, we're talking India. And so they are all over the place in small, a little hole in the walls, if you wish. They're safeguarded by, for the most part, families for centuries, generations upon generations. And a reader will then go into these little archives, physically, literally physically, there is no computerized system at all, and then try to find a bundle that has the same name as your thumbprint name, which means that all the little palm leaves in it, and each one of them represents one human being, they are all similar souls. You are soul sisters, soul brothers, if you wish. You're not related to them at all, because one could be a gentleman from Japan, one lady could be from Brazil, even a transgender human, I do not know, but you're soul sisters. You have a similar trajectory as you share the same thumbprint name. So the reader will pull it out of the archives, and then if you were in India, you will go to the reader's office, another little hole in the wall, I should tell you, and then he would open up the bundle in front of you and then go through these palm leaves step by step. These palm leaves, also very important for me to tell you, are written in ancient Tamil language. Tamil, ancient, which means that most people in today's Tamil Nadu don't speak ancient Tamil anymore. So you need an educated person who can read that. Tamil language is a sound-based language, syllabic language, very much unlike any Western language, French, English, and so forth, which is a letter-based language. So the skill set of the reader is to convert a sound, sound-based language, kind of like Chinese Mandarin, if you wish, into a meaningful letter. And also, these messages are not written in sentences, they're written in a poetic form. So the reader has to convert a poem into a meaningful sentence in today's language. So that process is called matching, where the reader, who only knows your gender, as Gail knows, either you're female or male, and then your thumbprint, that's all he knows, would then identify your individual palm leaf within those bundles that he found. And you know that it's you because he, who only knows your gender and your thumbprint, will then tell you your first name, mother's first name, father's first name, your date of birth, time of birth, if you have any siblings, how many kids, if you have a partner, then name of partner, it's you. I mean, it literally blows you away. So you can imagine me.
Mine done. I mean, there's a matching process. It takes a long time and they go through things. But in the end, he said to me, is your father's name Roy? Is your mother's name Joan? Do you have 3 children? Are they all girls? Do you have one brother? I mean, stuff that there's no way it could be anybody else.
I know, it's you. There is no doubt. And if there is doubt, then it's not you. It's super easy. It's very easy. If you have any doubt, then it's not you. So then that's called matching. So once you're like blown away, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, he found me. They know exactly who I am. And mind you, I already want to pre-answer questions that people have. Oh, they hacked into my social security, or they Googled me, they Facebooked me. Guys, whoever has been to India before, because I go to India all the time. If you haven't been to India, then obviously you might not know. The reader, the last thing that's on my reader's minds is to spend a minute Googling any one of you. I assure you that. And if you do not believe it, then please don't do it. It's that simple, okay? So the reader would come to the office and they travel, believe it or not, 1 to 2 hours one way on public transportation and those, dingy public buses to get to the office because you don't even have internet, like a good internet at their home. So they come to my office to have a strong internet connection, to then be able to connect with you on Zoom, as we do now with Gail, so they can give you the matching and the reading. At any rate, so the matching happens.
Q, what's going on right now in India? Are they okay with the whole coronavirus? Are they in lockdown?
No, it's a lockdown. Lockdown, yeah, absolutely, yes. It's a lockdown. It is. But they are, there's a pause in the lockdown starting next week for 5 days, so people can do whatever they want, and then the lockdown starts again. So those, what we've done is we gathered a lot of bundles and moved them over into our office. So we have readings. We've been flooded with readings. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. It's we have a hard time to cope with the influx of requests, to be honest with you. So we have double shifts.
I think right now, everyone, the whole world is wanting answers, and
they want answers for sure. So. Absolutely. So we have all the bundles in there. We've got readings going on every day. We're fully booked. And then once the lockdown, once there's a pause in the lockdown, then they will go for more searches and bring them in again and return the old ones, and then we'll continue again. So yeah, it's going on, but it's pretty, strict. You might have seen footage on YouTube or somewhere where they get, beaten down by the police or watered down. It's just the reality of it. They want to make sure that people stay home. And within your little like safe zone, you can travel, because our town where we are is called Chidambaram, which is about 5 hours south of Chennai, which is the capital city of this big state called Tamil Nadu. So to give you an idea, you can travel within that, within an area. But once you get to a border, quote unquote border, you cannot cross anymore. But what you can do, it's India again, you can pass a bundle over through that border,
okay.
you can do that, yes. And then but you personally cannot cross, but you can hand over the bundle and then go back or whatever. So that's how we do things. And then so that's the matching. And then the reading is the whole purpose why you do the search, which is a physical act. So you got to be patient, as Gail knows. It takes a month or 2 or 3, I don't know, maybe now even a little longer due to the lockdown. And then the reading is based on your energies at the time of the reading. So not your mood, not if you had a good time or not, good day or not, or you had a fight with your husband or not, it makes no difference. It's your energies at the time of the reading. And it comes in a trajectory, likely trajectory based on your energies, and it covers all aspects of your life, as you know, Gail. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's about your family life, your kids, grandchildren, education, money, health, you name it, the whole thing. And whenever there is a challenge, so something that's not so good, health-wise, career-wise, family-wise, whatever, there at the end of the reading, there is something you can do, and the reader will tell you because it's written in your palm leaf. It's called a puja. It's called a prayer, literally translated a prayer. But in modern terminology, it's known as homework, something you can do now to fix it. And the reader will tell you whether it's completely fixable, so it won't happen, or you can reduce the impact, so it's not going to be so bad. He will tell you that, okay?
So he'll tell you things like you may have a heart attack in this year or this time in your life. And if you do this, then it will they'll tell you it's either going to reduce it or get rid of it.
Yes, excellent. So actually mentioning heart attack is quite intuitive of you, because the reason why I went and had a reading done exactly by now 7 years ago is I had a virus. I know it's funny to talk about virus disease during the pandemic now, but I had a virus attack, which sent me straight into the ICU. And I could have died too, but I survived for whatever reason. And it impacted my heart. And I have not recovered from it yet either. So, but I told myself, if I come out of the ICU, I will go and see if there's a palm leaf for me, because I was told you can clean your karma. So I had a reading done. And in the reading, the reader, who does not know me at all, he only knew my thumbprint and that I'm a guy, he told me between age 77 and 79, I'll have a heart attack and I die. Well, first of all, I was impressed that he knows that I got heart issues. And to me, to die of a heart attack makes most sense, really, really does. But then he said, look, but there's a puja you can do. And the puja will not fix your heart attack, but it will reduce the heart attack from a fatal heart attack to minor heart attack. And if you really do it from the bottom of your heart, you will gain what they call longevity, the gift of longevity. Gift of longevity means 80, 82-ish, and then they cannot see the end of your life anymore. They can only say, oh, you continue to live until this age, and then you can be 82 plus 1 day or 99 years of age. They cannot tell you anymore. That's called the gift of longevity. So that's what he told me if I did the puja. So perfect example, actually, heart attack wise. So that's a reading. Anything that's not so good, not so good, quote unquote, based on karma that you carry, you can clean your karma, and the reader will tell you if you carry karma, who you were, very precise reading as a matter of fact, who you were, your name, your social status, which country you live, which year, and what you did to not be stuck in whatever it is that you're stuck in. Now, in my case, it is karma, because when I connected the dots in the ICU, I thought to myself, man, I had cancer, major car crash, revolution, I survived. So there is an issue why I'm always in this bloody hospital, and I don't want to be in a hospital anymore. So to me, having karma was the most logical thing, if you wish. So, and when I was told you can clean your karma during your reading, I said, I'm going to do it. And then he said, yeah, you do carry karma. And if you do this particular puja, you can overcome it. So it won't bother you anymore. This lifetime, it won't continue coming back next life, and you won't pass it on to kids if you might have any. So you can clean your karma. That's also good news. If you need to carry.
Is it always karma, or could it be some other reason?
It could be some other reason too. In my case, it's karma. It could very well be, and I do not remember your reading anymore, if the reader told you if you carry karma or not. But if you don't carry karma, he will tell you that too. He will say, oh, you don't carry karma, meaning you don't carry negative karma, because you can have positive karma too. But
I don't think I had that. Mine was amazingly positive. I had a few things that I had to fix.
Well, look at yourself. It's an amazing.
It was very accurate, but wow, yeah. So I don't remember having any karma that we talked about. That
yes,
was
it's perfect then. Yeah. He will tell you that anyway, because it's part of the whole deal anyway, to be given your karmic reading, if indeed you carry karma from a past life. And if you don't, lucky you. So there is no reason to.
I think he told me that I was like a speaker. A speaker, a healer, did this kind of work in a past life, but I don't think he told me I had anything negative that I had to clear. Good. I had a few negative things I had to clear, but no like big karma or anything like that.
That's perfect. Lucky you, it's true. It's lucky you. It's very good. So there, if it ain't broken.
But let's say you had something, and specifically right now, If he says to you in this, I don't know if he'd say in 2020 or in the next few months or this age time, because I know for me, I think it was a lot of like between the ages of 40 and 45, this.
Yes.
Okay. So if they say something that sounds like, you know, you're going to have a hard time with the coronavirus this year in particular, or something's going to happen, either you're going to get ill or you're going to have a major financial thing. So if they said something like that, and that was karma, because you know, this thing can affect you really badly, or it cannot affect you at all, right?
Correct.
Some people it's affecting really terribly, and some people it's not affecting.
Yes.
So if they say this year or this time for you is going to be very difficult, and you know how it's going to be difficult, you're saying that there is a possibility that you can soften that or clear that.
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. Now, allow me to, because I do not know how interested people are in Vedic astrology, Indian astrology, but it's quite unique and very precise, I should say. Now, in general, we have 4 periods, 4 timelines, 4 big chunks of what's it called? What's a good term to use? Episodes in life. They're called yugas. Y-U-G-A, yugas, and at the moment we're at the tail end of Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 to be in, and then we're in the tail end of it, meaning there's 2 more generations left. That's 66 years in Hindu traditions. 1 generation is 33 years, so which means after thousands of years of darkness, this is like the darkest of times, we're coming out of it. Meaning what? Meaning that we'll start a new cycle with Satya Yuga, and Satya Yuga is the time of enlightenment, where there is unity, there is oneness, there is love, and believe it or not, there's also no more need for palm leaf readings, because these Maharishis, these enlightened human beings, wrote these palm leaves 2,000-3,000 years ago, more or less at the beginning of this yuga, to knowing that people need help during dark times, in which we're right now. And as soon as we gradually come out of these horrible times, 3,000-4,000 years of darkness, and the golden era starts again, then obviously people do not need direction anymore, because they carry the wisdom and the knowledge and the healing in themselves already. So that's
you're
one.
saying this time is affecting, in this astrology, this affects everybody, not just certain people. This is everybody.
Well, this period is general. It affects everyone. Now, within this period of darkness that we're in, the worst time that it is in, plus it's getting better and better because we're at the tail end of it. Thousands of years are coming to an end. We're only 66 years left for the time of enlightenment to start. We are under the impact of Rahu. And Ragu, depending on how you spell it, is the worst of the buggers out there. It's a shadow planet, which means it doesn't have a physical a body, but it's a shadow planet, and it stands for spreading disease, and negativity. And Rahu's year started in November of 2019, and it continues to impact us more or less until September of 2020. And once Rahu leaves us again, we're all going to get better. Now, I did a chart with one of my senior readers in the office to be able to tell you a little more, because it gave me extra stages. First of all, not everyone on planet Earth is impacted by it. It's like an east-west flow. So people in the east are not as badly impacted as people in the west, meaning India, China. You got to think of the billions of people that are there. So it's not as badly impacted really. So in Africa, not at all. But when we come to Europe, not so good. North America, not so good, because we're coming to the west. So he explained it to me in that way, and we're now seeing the peak already, and I wrote it down so I can actually tell you. So by April 22nd, there is the first stage of improvement. Then comes May 23rd, and by July 14th, the impact of Rahu diminishes dramatically, and by September 23rd, peace and harmony will come back to planet Earth. So we are already seeing a major decline and ease of Rahu's impact. Now, because of the impact of Rahu and Saturn, The Sagittarius, Taurus, Scorpio, and Gemini are specifically badly impacted. So whoever is in those four, not so good year.
Well, I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm good right now.
Okay, okay, good for you. Then minor, they're a little impacted, are Capricorn, Pisces, Cancer, and Virgo. And neutral are the remaining four. What is it? Leo and Aries and Aquarius, I guess. I forgot. So and, those that I've not mentioned, the four of them are they're not as badly impacted. Because you asked me to give you some specific idea about now. Now, in according to Vedic astrology, then in 2020, starting already late 2020, going into 21, 22, 23, Mercury's impact is here, so which means we'll have great years coming up. We're going through a down phase, but very soon, it's already April, very soon we're going to see very good times coming up due to Mercury. So I did that for you to give people some
good
news. Yes, absolutely. Now, and as you said, if something is negative and they tell you that, because we have readings every day, and I am a moderator, so that people know how we do it is obviously when I had a reading done, the only way to get it done is go to India, because everything happens in India. Moderators are the readers are in India, the interpreters are in India, everything's in India, period. So if you want to get a reading done, you got to go to India, period. Now, when I did it, I was blown away, kind of like, you, Gail. And my reader told me, hey, you're going to bring this to the West. And of course, being a white guy, I thought he's crazy, because what would a white guy have to anything to do with this? Even though I'm very spiritual reader, I'm open to all of that. But I thought it can't be true. And yet here I'm talking to you about it. So we then figure it out, because I realized most people, I'm a big India fan, obviously, but I know that for most people, going to India is a no-no. It's just too complicated. It's too hot, too spicy food, whatever the reasons might be. So they never go to India. So we figured out how to do it online. Now in this online thing, it's live. There are real people behind it. It's live. So to my West Coast people, I apologize, because the only time you can get a reading done is nighttime, California time, West Coast time, 9:45 p.m. Simple reason being, time zone difference to India. And my East Coast people, I'm sorry, I got to get up a little early, because we started our readings for East Coast people at 6:45 a.m. East Coast time. Now, if you are a true night owl, you can have the 9:45 p.m. California time, which means 12:45 a.m. East Coast time. You can do it too if you want to, not an issue. But we only do these two times to make sure that we can cover most people, because it also helps with the Europeans and the Australians and so forth as well. So that's the two times that we do. Now there is the reader in it, in your call, who only speaks Tamil. He's the guy who can convert ancient Tamil to modern Tamil. And the next to him sits the interpreter who interprets Tamil into English or Hinglish. Heavy accent in English.
Yeah, there's an interpreter, but I'm glad that I had you, or that you have a Westerner on, because it is a little difficult to understand their accent.
It is, I understand. So, but believe me, we spend money and time in training them to Westernize their English. And so in order to help with the accent is we have a Western person. In your case, it was me. We'll call him a moderator, who holds your hand from the beginning till the very end. So it's a 3-hour process. You will connect with the moderator first. The moderator will make sure that you're ready for it, and help you for the matching, so you're ready. Because I was excited. I remember how excited I was. I could not sleep the night before. I was super excited. I was like, man, what is going to happen to me? And so I know like 99% of people will come and get a reading that are super excited. They really are. And so you forget things, and you mix things up. That's the reason why you get a moderator who sits there, speaks your language, and says, hey, look, this is how I'm going to go. And if you have any questions, you're confused, you don't remember things, the moderator, steps in, helps you with the matching process. And then when it comes to the reading, if you don't understand the accent, obviously the moderator helps you with the accent. But more importantly, because after a while you get used to the accent, of course you do, is you might understand what he's saying phonetically, but maybe not spiritually. So then the moderator steps in and says, hey, do you actually understand what he's trying to tell you? This is what it means. And then I go, there you go. Now I know why, what the reader is trying to tell me. So the whole process from the beginning to the end, live on Zoom, which we record, takes about 3 hours. So at the end of it, it takes about a week or two for us to finish it all up. We send you your recording. So it's downloadable through WeTransfer. You get it. So you can listen to it over and over again. So you don't actually have to take any notes if you don't want to. You can really focus on it. and then we type up your pujas, your homework that you need to do into English, readable English in PDF format, and we send it to you afterwards. So we take a picture of your palm leaf too, and send you the pictures too, because the original remains in the bundle in India. Now here comes the kicker, because it's being recycled, which means at some point in the future, there will be another soul with the same thumbprint name, and then the reader at some point in the future will find the bundle, which still has your palm leaf in it, and then it's recycled to another person. Why? Because of rebirth. Obviously, that's how we do it. Now, my information is also simple. Is Indian palm leaf reading. I can type it into the chat if you want to. Indian palm leaf reading.com. Indian palm leaf reading.com. There you go. Just submitted it into the chat.
Well, you're very intuitive, because somebody was just asking that, and I was just typing that in. So
yeah, because somebody I can see in the chat too that somebody says what's the information. There you go. So Indian, super easy. Indian palm leaf reading.com. It's a very literal name, and it's truly what it means. You can also call it Nadi astrology if you wish, or Nadi readings. So Indian palm leaf reading, and on the website you can just put down your name and your email. We will send you the information right away. And yeah, sorry. So any questions that you might have?
I just, when I first met you and
Yes.
heard about this, I was a little bit like, I wonder if this is true. And I had lunch with my friend Sean David Morton, who is a speaker.
Yes.
And he told me, I said to him, hey, do you know about these Indian palms, and is it real? And he said, oh yeah. He said, I went to India and I had my palm leaf read, and he said it was mind-blowing. But he said the thing that scares the hell out of me is, and this was in April of 2017, and he said, it scared the hell out of me was they told me in 2017 I'm going to go to jail for 6 years. And at that time, he already had, he was a speaker, and he was talking a lot about the gold standard, whether it's really real, and how you can kind of like maybe get out of your mortgage, or, a lot of anti-government, anti-money things. And so the IRS came down on him, and, he said, and anyway, he ended up going to jail in 2017 for 6 years. And I know,
you told me the story. It's crazy.
Okay. And my thought was, hey, didn't they give you any pujas?
Yeah.
So
sure you can fix that,
Susan Shumsky just came online, and she just sent a little note. Susan is amazing teacher, spent a lot of time in India.
Oh yes,
so we can
Susan
have
knows
her
India like no one else.
And Susan said she had a palm leaf reading. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah, she did. I remember Susan. Yeah, she had a reading. And I love Susan, really. I listened to her talk at the LA Expo when she talked about the Beatles, and she was involved with them. Fantastic, really. Loved it. Yeah.
But mine was amazing. I mean, so mine. So all I gave you was my thumbprint.
That's all. Yeah, that's all they get. Mm-hmm.
And then I suppose it was like a month or so before they said they found a group of bundles, so a bundle of these leaves. So yes. my soul could be in one of these, right? But so then we set up this process, which was late at night, and it did go about 3 hours. I think probably the first hour and a half was this matching program, where he would take a leaf and he would say, does your father's name begin with R? Do you have 2 children? Well, no, I've got 3 children. Okay, that's not you, right? And then he'd go to the next one. Okay, do you have 1 brother, 1 sister? No, I have 1 brother only. Okay, that's not you. And I mean, some of them were pretty close, but this went on. And then he comes up with a leaf and he says, everything. Is your father's name Roy? Is your mother's name Joan? Do you have this many children? Do you have this many siblings? Are you a speaker? Do you write books? I mean, all kinds of things. It was just mind blowing. So that's all 100%. So then he says, okay, now we start the reading. And if I remember, he did it in chunks, like between this age and this age, between this age and this age. and yeah, I mean, some of the stuff was, was incredible. Like the dates I got married, the dates, I mean, yeah, it was mind blowing. And the stuff that in the future that has now come to pass. And I had a few little odd things that he asked me to do the pujas for, but I didn't have any major. I was a little worried that he was going to tell me, when you die, and I was a little
Yes,
concerned. Did they do that?
they
Because he
do,
didn't.
of course, every single one.
I
Don't
mean, he
forget
didn't.
that they give you a trajectory of your life based on your energies at the time of the reading. So it's a trajectory. Likely, it's not set in stone. Nothing is ever set in stone because you have free will. You have choice. Nobody's holding a gun against your forehead saying, this is, you got to do it that way. No, it just tells you, based on your energies, this is a likely outcome of your life. That's how it's going to work. Now, if there are bumps on the way, you get the pujas to do to fix things, because ultimately, if you wish, if I had to summarize a palm reading into one sentence, is you want to lead a better life after your reading. Through a reading, you want to have a better life, period.
I
Whatever
think
better means.
that's what all reading's about, whether it's tarot reading or whatever. I mean, you're
It doesn't
going
matter.
there because you don't want to just
You want to
know
improve
what you
something.
want. You're going to see, like, what are your options and what can you do and how can you fix this and make it better. I mean, it's much more empowering to know what's coming up, even if it's a difficult obstacle, to know that that's coming up. It makes things a lot easier. And
Correct.
I mean, is everybody on the life path, or can they say, well, this is your life path and you kind of veered off your life path? Because
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh, that's one of the main reasons why you're going to get a reading done. The reader will tell you, that was one of my things too. I was like, maybe I get sick because maybe I'm doing stupid things. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. And so the reader will tell you if you are on your life path or not. But don't get me wrong, he won't be saying, oh, you need to be a barber, because that's too specific. And obviously that's crazy. Or you need to be an IT guru. That makes no sense either. But he will give you a good direction, what is good for your soul. For example, if you wish, your life purpose is to teach children. It could be arts and music, teach them, children, small ones, or it could be guide other people, teenagers, so it could be a teacher, it could be, I don't know, a tutor, whatever. So whether this is what's good for your soul. Now, also, not everyone who gets a reading needs to be quote unquote a healer or, someone enlightened. The reader will tell you if whatever it is that you're doing is good for your soul. So that means, for example, you are a broker on Wall Street, and you make $10 million a year. Why not? So the reader will say, yes, you are on your path. That's good. No need to change anything because you're on your path. But whoever gets a reading done, obviously, is slightly a spiritual person in one way or another, obviously. So the reader will tell you, yes, you are on your path, but you got to do something good with the money that you make. Utilize it to do some good. You know what I mean? So you don't have to convert and become, I don't know, a healer, energy healer, yoga instructor. No, not at all. If what it is that you do is good for you and that's your life path, perfect. But of course you have responsibility. You do, as we all do. And the reader will help you in finding a way to be in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing.
yeah, I think he said to me, you're going to write a book that's going to be different to everything that
And you
you've written.
did.
And I did, and he didn't know that. I had it in the works, but he didn't know that. And he said, you'll write this book, it's different. It will be very successful and it will be TV. But he said, it's really, really important that you continue this spiritual teaching. In fact, you're going to do more of this spiritual teaching. That's going to be more of your life path. And that was really important that I continued that, which, after I wrote this other book, there was a decision of, oh, well, maybe I'm not going to do as much of this work. And he reinforced that this is really important. This is part of your life path. You must continue this work and you'll actually be doing more of this work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because I was the moderator in your reading. So I remember, because you had a great reading, very um, uh, it doesn't happen too often that I know the person, to some extent I know you, obviously, because most of the time, the person that I help through the reading, the matching and the reading is a total stranger to me, really, because I hardly meet them in person. I'm just ending up being their moderator. But in your case, it's quite different because I know you, so I know your history a little bit, and so I can relate to it. So when he says something, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, how come he knows? He referred to your guru or a master in Brazil. He mentioned Brazil.
He said the name John. He said, do you have a guru, John?
Amazing. I mean, amazing. And I'm telling you, so to most of your viewers and listeners, the world is an oyster. They're everywhere. They fly, they drive. They've seen the world, this and the other. But you need to know, and it comes from the bottom of my heart. You need to know that in India, at least, the southern parts, the poor parts, and my readers are educated people. But to them, the universe that they live in is, give or take, 100 or 200 miles radius of their village. That's it. So for a person who has hardly seen his own state, you know what I'm saying? If I speak in US terms or Canadian terms, your own state, they haven't even crossed the state at all. To mention Brazil, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he knew things
It's like
about the
amazing. I'm
worldly
telling you,
stuff
it's
that,
shocking.
yeah, he couldn't
It's
have.
shocking.
And you said that they got your names of your parents, which were not normal names.
No. I mean, my mom, my mom's European. She's from Austria. Her name is Gisela, and my father is from Persia. So his name is Siavash.
And they
I,
got their names?
I'm telling you, I guarantee you, he's never heard either one of these names ever.
And he actually said those two
Oh,
names to you?
so I mean, to my ears, because I don't speak any Tamil or Hindi, it's like dum badam 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 Gisela. He's like, what? What? Dum badam 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 Siavash. I was like, what? Holy moly, man! Wow, it's shocking. I'm telling you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking to you 7 years later. It was a mind blowing experience for me. It really was. Changed my life for sure.
Now, you answered this question before when you came to my ranch about, like, if you're older. I mean, some people might say, well, I'm kind of older, like I've kind of lived my life. What's the difference between reading in a young person and an older person? Like you were saying that an older person is more about
good
family.
Question. Excellent question. The people think, oh, I'm young, so my reading will be long. And people think, oh, I'm more mature, so there is not much life left in me. So it will be a short reading. Quite the opposite, I should tell you, because a reader or reading intuitively connects with the person who gets the reading done and gives the person a reading that's whatever is important to them at the time of the reading. So if you're 18 years old, you just finished high school, your entire life is ahead of you. So what's important for you right at the age of 18? So that would be, of course, college, meeting someone, maybe the kids, some career. And as soon as you start talking about, grandchildren, you've lost the person already because it's so far in the future, it's too hard for them to grasp. Now, if you're a more mature person, and I can vouch for it because, believe it or not, I was the moderator for my own mom, and I assure you the reader had no clue that she was my mom. My mom is now 74 years old. She had a reading when she was 71. And so when you're a little more mature, the reader or the reading per se, he does not know who you are, will tap into what's important to you at the time of your life. So what is important to my mom? Obviously, the only thing that's important to my mom is my brother, her two kids, and even more importantly, because I've lost my number one position by far. Ever since my brother had his first kid, or rather kids, because they have twins. The twin girls. I'm not the number one anymore. I'm telling you, my mom is just, everything's about the grandkids now. So the two twin granddaughters for her, and now the third grandson. So it was of utmost importance to her how we and then the kids will develop and how their lives are. So the reading was focusing more on us and the next generation than on her. But even for her, they told her already, oh, you'll have double hip surgery. Can you imagine? And my mom told me, no way I'm going to have any surgery, even though she'd been in pain for 5 years. And funny enough, my brother is an orthopedic surgeon on top of it. So that's funny enough. And he whispered, he told me, he took me aside some time ago, way before all this happened. He said, look, our mom needs a hip replacement, whether she wants it or not, doesn't matter. She will have to have it, period. And then lo and behold, after the reading, gradually, because the reader told her, you will have so much pain, you will ask for help. And 6 months later, exactly the time that he said, my mom said, oh my gosh, my pain is unbearable. So then she asked my brother for help. And of course, my brother said, I'm not going to be the surgeon. You don't do that. But he asked one of his colleagues and friends. And then when he met her, he had never met my mom, he looked at my mom, she's 71 at the time, 71, right before the surgery. He said, well, ma'am, I think I don't usually recommend it, but in your case, I would say we can do both in one go. 9 times out of 10, they only do one hip and then a year later, the second. But in my mom's case, boom, within a year, as the reader told her, and I have it all recorded, so it's recorded way before it all happened. It's mind-blowing, I'm telling you. So it doesn't matter if you're more mature. It doesn't matter if you're middle-aged, my age bracket or a little younger. It focuses on what's important to you.
Well, my mom's booked a reading. We signed up and they found her bundle. We have to still set up a reading, but my mom booked the reading, and your office sent me a notice that they've actually found the bundle now. They have it, and so we're going to set up a reading for my mom, which is going to be fun. I think I'll probably sit in and listening to the whole thing too.
Yeah, so I get a few questions now, so which I'm answering. So one was, is the site secure? And I wasn't quite sure what the person means by that. Yeah, it is an HTTPS site. Of course it is. So it's a secure site, obviously. The other one, do you get this reading only once? Linda, great question too. Now, you can have more than one palm leaf. You can, because 18 Maharishis wrote messages for people. 18. The main guy's name is called Agastya, but there's 17 others. So that means, and I had 2 readings in my life. The very first one 7 years ago, which changed, which got me onto this trajectory, and one 4 years ago. Now, if you have more than one reading, so obviously I was curious to begin with, and then I was at a crossroads too, because that's right before I started this institute. So I had a reading, a different reader, different person altogether. And so this guy, the reader sends in front of me, the reading, I'm still the same person. Second reading was very similar to the first, because I'm the same human being, So the trajectory is similar, but I could see major differences. The first difference right away is, in the first reading, he told me 77, 79, have a heart attack and die, unless I did the puja. In my second reading, the guy, the reader told me, oh, you have the gift of longevity. Boom, huge change, because I did the pujas and I really am into this. So there is some healing happening. And then at that time, 7 years ago, obviously, I had no clue about any of this. The guy told me, oh, you're going to bring this to the West, palm leaf readings. In the second reading, the guy said, are you involved in palm leaf readings? Are you involved in this somehow? I was like, oh my gosh, how would you know this? It's crazy. And I obviously said, yeah, I'm thinking of, bringing this to the West.
Your readers, when you had the second one, it wasn't one of your people.
He is now one of our people, of course, absolutely.
Oh, but he didn't know you when he read you then? He didn't know who you were?
The first reader did not, but the second reader ish, because it was a test. I wanted to like test him, obviously not like in a negative way test, but
yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? It's just how it was I did not know him. I did not. But our office manager, of course, introduced him to us, and he said, he's an amazing human being, and really he is an amazing human being. And I think he did your reading, Guruji's name, beautiful soul. I'm telling you, wow, all of our readers are beautiful souls, and I'm very humbled by each one of them. So he read it to me, and that was the mind-blowing part. So obviously, since that time, he's being our reader. I love Guruji big time. So you, in order to answer Linda's question, you can have more than one reading. You can have actually several readings. And can you again, the 3 signs that will have a hard time during Maricela asked, can you tell me the 3 signs? Well, the four zodiacs that are impacted the most are, and I talked to Guruji, to give me some help with this. Sagittarius, Taurus, Scorpio, and Gemini are impacted the most. And then Capricorn, Pisces, Cancer, and Virgo are a little impacted by this. And then neutral ones are the remaining 4.
But it also is, on top of that, it's not just everybody that is these signs, because I'm a Sagittarius. It's also what is going on in your life.
Yes.
Right. So it might be that your soul path in your reading might be that you specifically have something, because, you know, we can be in this environment where there's this virus going around, where there's financial devastation, and we can be impacted really badly by it, or it could be, you know, a little bit. It could be fairly easy for us. And so it depends, you know, individually on what's going on in our life. So I would think if something comes up in your reading where this year, this time for you is particularly difficult, you know, if you've got a karmic thing going on, then this is kind of one of the outlets that this karmic thing is going to play out for you. Whereas if somebody else does not have that issue, then, you know, perhaps they're not going to be as affected by it, you know. So like, why do some people get coronavirus, or why are some people more affected than others? Well, it depends what's going on in your life.
Many things. So yeah. This, again, this is not the coronavirus. You know, Maricela asked me during who will have a hard time during, or okay, so during these times. Okay, it's not
during these times, right? Which, you know, could be other things, but during these times, right? I mean, it's pretty astute that he's saying this astrology has kind of a difficult time for the entire of humanity during these particular months, which is, you know, odd that he would say that. But of course, within that period of time, who is really affected by it, and who, you know, kind of, because we're all on some level affected. We're all waking up. We're all, I mean, I don't know what you think about this, Dr. Q, about what's going on in the environment right now. I don't know if you've seen anything different in any of the readings. If the readings are, if a lot of people are coming up with something at this particular time that they might have a difficulty with. I don't know if you're noticing that in your readings. So, well, what's your thought about what?
Yeah, I mean, actually, in the readings, and again, I'm only sitting in a few of them, obviously, but what I can tell you out of the ones that I'm a moderator in is, for the most part, the reader tells them, with whatever it is that you do, wait until after July. You know, so they put for the most part, not every single one of them, but a good chunk of them. So don't travel. Well, obviously, many people can't travel anyway at the moment anyway, but not the entire world is shut down. Not, you know, some parts of the US is shut down, and Europe and so forth, but not the entire world. So what I can tell you is, after July, things will change. Don't travel, and simply wait. If you have like any business idea, or if you have an idea of moving somewhere, or changing some big things, for the most part, it tells you to wait till either July or September.
But again, it might be specific to that person. It could tell you something different.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I talk to Guruji about, you know, the period that we're in, first of all, it's a general period, right? That impacts all of us as humanity, being in Kali Yuga now, and so that doesn't change. It's all of us. But a reading, unlike most people ask me, has to do with Akashic records? No, Akashic records is like the compendium of all wisdom or all knowledge up there somewhere, you know, and then a person can tag into it and download it if you wish. But it's similar, but it's different. A palm leaf reading is written. A palm leaf is written for you specifically, Gail Thackeray, to be read to you at the time of the reading, at the time, you know, not a day before, not a year later, at the time, boom. And it's for you, not for anyone else. I know it is mind-blowing. It's totally mind-blowing. And I have no idea how well, in my own mind, and having spoken to so many readers by now, I have an explanation for that. And the explanation is the following. So you can either take it or not. It's either way, it's okay. Now, if you agree with me that the way we experience time is not quote unquote reality, whatever reality might mean, I do not know, right? So we perceive time to be linear, you know, so there is yesterday and the day before and so forth, and there's today and there is the future. Now, if we said that everything happens at the same time, so time is just in our minds linear, but in reality, whatever reality might be, is everything's one, boom. So that means if Gail Thackeray, who meets me and then it's just to process it a little bit, at some point says, oh my gosh, this is awesome, I want to do it. So at that moment, when in your mind, the thought is formed to have that you need guidance, or you're just curious to see if there is a problem. At that moment, 2,000 years ago, at the same time, but 2,000 years ago, Maharishi Agastya starts writing down the message that you need to receive. Whenever then it's found, after you submit your thumbprint, and the reader goes on a search and finds it. So if you ask me, that makes the most sense to me, if indeed we agree that everything happens at the same time.
And it's, it's this little tiny leaf with small writing on it. So is everything on that leaf, or is the reader also somehow tapping into intuition, or is it all actually written down on the leaf?
Well, when it comes to the matching, don't forget, these readers are saintly men, really. I mean, they live an amazing lifestyle through meditation, dieting, fasting. Every day in the morning before we start the readings, they do their rituals. So they're really in tune. It's not just, hey, whatever, I'm doing whatever I do at home and then I come and I do the reading. No. They're really saintly men. So they're very much in tune. They do their 40-day fast. They do a lot of things, like not cutting hair because of this and that, the other. So they're really into it. And that's how you know that these are real readers, because regrettably, those of you who've been to India, a lot of things are fake too. I need to be honest with you too. Like if you as an individual just showed up in India saying, oh, here I am, I'm a tourist from, North America, I want to get a reading done, you will find 1,000 people who will give you a reading right away for just to get money, period. So it takes a while to find a real trustworthy human being who knows what they're doing and is into it and has been doing it for many, many, many years, if not decades. So it's huge intuition too, because again, Tamil language is a sound-based language, no letters. So he has to convert it into a meaningful letter for you to understand, in your case, English. And as he goes deeper and deeper by looking at the symbols, and then says, okay, this one symbol could mean A, or it does mean A, O, I, O. Do you have an A, O, I, O in your name? Yes or no? So if you say yes, he goes deeper into it. And every time he opens up a new palm leaf, when you say no, he picks up another piece of information. And I was like, okay, so this palm leaf now belongs to a person who's married. Are you married? Yes or no? If you say yes, okay, then cool. If you say no, well, then it's not you. So it's his intuition somehow, I don't know how, because they tap into it, I don't know, to then find yours. It's amazing, I'm telling you, because I've been live next to them trying to figure it out. And then once we've had live matchings, because I've been doing it for so many years, he would explain to me, look, this is the symbol that means that, and this is the symbol that means that. And if you put it together, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, indeed, it does mean Peter. Yes, but it could also mean, I don't know, Thomas, I don't know, but it's true. But if you convert it correctly, the way he sees it, it's that name. And then he shows you on this little tiny, lengthy thing, brittle thing. He says, okay, so that's Peter, and that's the name Susan, mother, and that's father's name John. And you can read it because he converts it, with a chart. And then he goes deeper by explaining you whatever other issues he could identify in your reading. So it is big time intuition, big time. But in the end, he can prove it to you too, in the end. But it's a lengthy process, not easy at all.
So explain these pujas or homework that you might be assigned to do if you have something.
Okay. There is a few questions. So did you get the reading? I answered that. I answered the second question too. Then Sandra asked me, when you say a particular sign could be more impacted, could it be a positive impact? Well, the impact, Sandra Skidmore answering now, is negative, because we are under the impact of Rahu, and Rahu is a shadow planet, which means not a physical planet, but is a bugger. We don't want to be impacted by it at all. Ketu is one of those buggers. Rahu is one of them. And so when I say impacted, is negative, not good. So whenever this bugger shows up, you want to run away, but you can't run away. So all we can do is just sit it through. That's it. Sit tight and hope for the best. But you can do some pujas in your reading. If indeed your reader identifies that you're impacted by Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, whatever, he will tell you, you can do homework called a puja, Pooja, and you can either reduce it, eliminate it altogether, or just reduce the impact. He will tell you that. But he will also tell you, the next 5 years are going to be challenging years because of Rahu or because of this and that, the other. But he will tell you, okay, if you can do this, then the other, to reduce the impact. Cool. So I guess I answered Sansa, and then was
no. So answer like, okay. So some examples you had where you had to feed the poor, or you have to do prayers to this god, a lot of the Hindu gods. So give us some examples of what a puja might be.
Okay, so let's say during your reading, he identifies a health problem, a relationship issue, a career dent, whatever. And then he, at the end, it's called the puja reading, because what we do is we do a whole life reading. A whole life reading covers all of your life, all aspects of your life, relationships and so forth. And at the end, the very, very end, he will give you a karmic reading. But if you have no karma, beautiful, like negative karma that is. And then right before it's over, he gives you the puja reading, because you've seen your life, you heard about your past, your karma, and now it's time to get it fixed. And that's called the puja reading. There are 2 types of pujas. One is called the temple puja, something that you can do. And one's called the mantra puja. Mantra puja means it has to be done by a priest in India, obviously. Or if you're Hindu and somewhere in North America and you know a temple, you can obviously go to a temple in wherever you are too. But most 99.9% of people don't have a connection. So we do it for them in India. So temple puja or mantra puja. Puja literally translated means prayer, but in modern terminology, I prefer to say homework in a way. So he will tell you, so he, the reader, all of them are male, hence I'll only say he will identify issues, and it will also identify remedies for you. And the remedies could be either a mantra, a chant, or a meditation dedicated to a god or goddess within Hinduism. Now, this is not a religious act. So you can have any religion that you have, being a Catholic, a Jew, whatever, doesn't matter. But you need to look at this from through the eyes of 2,000 years ago, when these enlightened sages meditated to Lord Shiva to then write down the messages for people. So obviously all they knew was Hinduism, nothing else. So it's not a religious act, but it is an act of you manifesting, focusing energies to bring about healing. So that's important for me to tell you. And then they will tell you which one of the gods, and Hinduism, by the way, that could be Jeopardy, $1 million win for you, is the only world religion that has no written scripture. There you go. So it will tell you, in case you do win Jeopardy, cut me a check for $20 and I'll buy a cup of coffee and celebrate with you. Can you still see me? By the way,
yes,
I thought it's frozen. So the reader will tell you, you got to dedicate this mantra to this particular god or goddess. Now, what we do is we send it to you anyway in typed up PDF format and the god along, so you don't have to do any research. All you got to do is print the god out, create a little altar somewhere in a corner of your house or apartment. It can be just the picture itself, black and white or color makes a difference. Or you can also add, you can light a candle if you want, incense, fruits, flowers, you can embellish it a little bit, or keep it very simple, doesn't matter. But you have to do it the way it's prescribed to you, literally. There is no wiggle room. If he says you got to do this mantra 17 times, and it's one sentence 17 times on 5 consecutive Wednesdays, that's what it means. 17 times, not 19 times, not 15 times on a Wednesday, not a Thursday. So you're gonna, ideally you do this mantra when you wake up, because your mind is relaxed when you wake up, or right before you go to bed. But if you do that before you go to bed, you want to make sure that you finish the 17th time of reciting that one sentence before midnight. Because if it goes beyond midnight, then it's not a Wednesday anymore, it's a Thursday, which means you don't give it the attention that it deserves. Obviously, it's that simple. If you want healing, you're gonna do it as it's prescribed to you, and there is no wiggle room. So you really got to follow it. Now, I usually explain these pujas by telling you a story that's written in Paramahansa Yogananda's book. Maybe some of you have read it or heard of him. Paramahansa Yogananda, the autobiography of a yogi. He's the guy who brought yoga to the West, period. That's like the Bible of yoga. And he wrote it in the 30s, as far as I remember, but don't shoot me, please. And in this, I read the book twice. And in it, he talks about all the saints and the gurus that he has and the helpers and so forth. And so Paramahansa, who grew up in the late 1800s and 1900s, early 1900s, he, as a teenager, had a guru, and this guru could heal people just by looking at them. And obviously, every time that he wanders with the guru to one of these villages, all these people show up to get healed from cancer, leprosy, you name it. And they come and they're healed and they go. But his guru, and I forgot the name, his guru would always give him crazy homework, like a crazy homework to do. For example, it could be, look, you have leprosy, you're healed from leprosy now, but you have to carry this egg, raw egg, in your left pocket for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, without cracking it. And so obviously, Paramahansa, little Paramahansa, being age 12, 13, 14, looks up at his guru and says, Guru, I don't quite understand. I know, and you can heal these people, but why do you give them these crazy homework? It makes no sense at all. He says, yes, I know that. You might know that I can heal him, but the person who comes to me, might not necessarily believe in it. So I give him a homework, which again, you need to look at in historical terms. I know years ago, a poor Indian, to look after a raw egg for 2 weeks in his pocket is quite a challenge. So by focusing, making sure that the egg remains intact for 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long he said so, during that time, healing will manifest itself and he will become a healed person. So the pujas are the exact same thing. If the reader tells you 5 Wednesdays, 17 times, this one sentence, you do it that way, not a different way, because you honor what he just told you. You know what I mean? So you put your energy into it. And the pujas take some time. Mine took 6 or 7 months. Yours, I presume, too, because you have to do pujas, different pujas dedicated to different gods, because you fix different aspects of different aspects in your reading, things that the reader was able to identify. So that takes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever. And it could also be a physical act, like something you need to do. Now, in my case, the reader told me several things, but one was, apart from the pujas that I had to do too, obviously I printed it out and I focused on all that. But he told me on 2 Wednesdays, he said, I need to feed the needy. I was like, I am not quite sure what you mean, because in my reading, you need to know that too, he told me that I'll be living in Hungary, in Budapest, which is the capital city of Hungary, which is in Central Europe, for those of you who do not know where it is. It's a beautiful city, come and visit us. And I now live in Budapest, Hungary, by the way. And if an Indian who has no clue, I'm telling you, no clue where Hungary is or Budapest tells you that, you listen. And it's not because he told me that I'll be living there, that I'm living there. I already had it in my mind, because I had a girlfriend from Hungary, Budapest. So I was thinking, why not? It's a beautiful town. I was thinking about it. And when an Indian told me that, of course, wow, I was like, holy moly, that's quite something. So I now live very happily in Budapest. When he told me you got to do these 2 Wednesdays, feed the needy, I'm in a country, in a city, I don't know many people, and I was sweating because I didn't want to screw up the sequence, and I wanted to do as he told me. And I asked him, what do you mean? Should I do a soup kitchen? Should I donate money? He says, no, you figure it out. So I was sweating, I'm telling you, I just moved there, and the pujas I was doing, I wanted to be, doing everything right, because I had just also survived my heart problem, I didn't want to get sick. And then when I was in a cafe on a Wednesday, it boom, it hit me right then, right there. I realized, oh my gosh, I can't feed the needy now, because I observed an elderly lady who I presumed has no money. Maybe I was wrong, I don't know. But when I saw her in a little cafe that I still go, by the way, I thought, oh my gosh, you know what? Let me just pay for her soup and a coffee, whatever she ordered, I don't remember. So I told the waiter, look, I just paid for her, please don't tell her. And then I, paid and I left. And I could see when she wanted to pay, the waiter said, no, it's all paid for. And she was like, what? Beautiful experience. I'm telling you, if you haven't done it yet yourselves, do it. It's an act of, it's a random act of kindness. Beautiful thing. And I've been doing it ever since. Randomly throughout the year, I do this a couple of times. It's a beautiful thing indeed. So it's a physical act that you're supposed to be doing, or a mantra, a chant, or a meditation dedicated to a god or goddess.
Okay, so we've been going at this for an hour. So tell us, how do people get a reading? How much does it cost? Oh, and by the way, you're supporting like a whole community in southern India, right? So a lot of the money that you charge goes to help them and the readers, right?
Yes. Now, you need to know that again, 66 years, and then we're changing the yuga that we're in. You know, a time of enlightenment is coming, so maybe we don't need it at the time anymore. But for now, what we do, I found beautiful souls. I'm telling you, it took some time, but we found beautiful souls that work with us, priests, readers, sorry, and priests, of course. We have priests that work with us too, because they do all the pujas for us. And we want to make sure that they stay wherever they are. We don't want them to leave, and you know, for the higher paid jobs and, you know, in the northern parts and in bigger cities. So we literally overpay. We just overpay, making sure that they are where they are, so they can support their families and stay and do a beautiful job and help you, obviously, you know. So it should be a win-win for everyone. So we charge $100. It's just to start the search. So you put down $100. Once you pay $100, we send you an email, and you can submit your thumbprints. And there's a little video that explains how to do the thumbprint, because it's very important too. You want to capture a perfect impression of your thumb. Unlike what you see in Hollywood movies, when they roll your thumb, you know, in a movie, you know, when you get booked in a Hollywood movie, that's just movies. The reality of it is you go down straight, boom, boom, straight, no moving at all. That's how you actually get a good impression. So you got to organize somehow an ink pad somewhere, you know, Office Depot or so, or just borrow it from the office. Nobody's in the office at the moment anyway. And then we will send you the form. You print it out, you put it on, and then you upload it to our system. That goes to India, and all the readers know is that you're female or male and your thumbprint, and that's it. And then that process takes a while. So you really need to be patient, please. It could be anywhere from 1 day, so the next day, to 6 months. So you gotta be patient. So I guess I'm now answering one person's one with all 13, 20, 33 question. How long does it take? It takes a while, so you gotta be patient. On average, I can tell you it takes about 2 months-ish before the reader can identify at least one bundle where he thinks your individual palm leaf is. And if that happens, we'll send you an email saying, congratulations, we found at least a bundle for you, and now you pay the remaining balance, and the remaining balance is $400 for the matching and the reading. Now, if we do not find your bundle in 6 months, you get your $100 back. So you have a 100% money back guarantee. But if once we find your bundle, then the $100 become non-refundable, and then you move on to the next stage for the matching and the reading, and that's $400. If we cannot match the leaf to you or you to the leaf, even though we try, you get your $400 back too. Obviously, you know, you have always 100% money back guarantee. We're registered and governed by California laws, which are the toughest in the world, obviously. And I do it on purpose so that you know that you're dealing with a US-based institute and not somewhere out there in India and you have no clue where these people are. So we're a US-based institute governed by California laws. Bookkeeping, the whole 9 yards is done in California. After the 2 months-ish, you know, on average, when we send you an email, you then pay the remaining balance, and then you can choose any day you want that's available, Monday through Sunday. We work 7 days a week. You can choose from one of the 2 times that I told you before already, 9:45 p.m. Please don't be upset. I still get emails from people saying, how come you're so customer unfriendly times? I'm like, I told you many times before, it's 9:45 p.m. California time or 6:45 a.m. New York time. It's not because I want to be a pain in your cute little butt. No, it's just the reality of it because of time zone difference. People are not aware of it, but we do have 12, 13 hours between California and India. So obviously your nighttime isn't morning time for them. And then early morning time, 10 hours later from a New York friend, 7 a.m. is like in the afternoon in India. And it takes 3 hours each single reading. And it involves 3 people, the reader, the interpreter, and the moderator who hold your hand. So it's quite labor intensive. So for that, it's actually quite a steal of a deal. And the reader travels, and also the interpreter, they travel an hour or 2 to get to the office to be of service to you. And I don't want them, in case you have not been to India, because I presume most people have not been to India, it's a different universe altogether. I've already lost, and as shocking as it is, I've lost in a hit and run 1 moderator somebody because the reading was late at night, and there's no street lights. It's a different universe altogether. Hit, killed on the street, and just left. And I had a second hit and run with one of my readers. Thank God he survived, but hence I cannot have them come to my office in India, which is a small, rural area, past 8. I want them to go home at the latest by 7 or 8 p.m. That's just the way it is. If they stay on, so it's a little more convenient to you, and they stay on until 10 p.m., then it puts their lives even more in danger. So that's just the reason why we do these 2 times, and that's it.
Okay, so once again, how can somebody give us your website again? I'm going to post it also in the links and on Facebook, but just repeat that again, how they do it.
Sure, it's IndianPalmLeafReading.com. Indian, like the country India, just with an N. IndianPalmLeafReading.com. And I'm typing this now again one more time into the Zoom chat. IndianPalmLeafReading.com. IndianPalmLeafReading.com. And on the website, you put down your name and your email address, and then you tell me that you come from Gail. So then I know that you listened to this talk. Then I don't have to explain to you much more, because I already told you everything that you need to know. So you tell me that you came from Gail, and then you will receive a link for the payment. And once you pay the $100, you receive a link for uploading your thumbprint. First you download the little form, you put your impressions on, you upload it, you take a picture of it, you upload it, and then the search will start. And then you're going to be patient, just patient. Gail was patient. You got to be patient. No need for you to send me an email, or one of us, because there's several of us working in this institute, send us an email every week saying, do you have any news for me? Do you have any news for me? No, I don't. Once my reader, it gets assigned to a reader looks at it literally, so maybe it's important. It's kind of interesting for you too. So we got 4 or 5 readers that work with us, and they work in teams. So they receive your impressions, and funny enough, he looks at your impression literally through a magnifying glass. So he has a piece of paper, and that's the reason why I need to submit a high resolution picture, not a low res, high res, 1 meg. The higher the better it is, because it's been printed out in India. And then he takes his magnifying glass, looks at the impression, and then he identifies these characteristics, and then so he can identify your name, the thumbprint name, which is the secret of it all. And then he goes on a search, and it takes a while, a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month. And when I say search, I mean a physical search. So he hops on his little bicycle or his moped, or goes on a bus, does a bus, and then goes from one archive to the next to the next. And if it's really difficult to find one that matches your, like a bundle that has the same name of your, like your thumbprint, they have brokers. We got brokers, so we got brokers, agents say, hey, look, we need this. And then they go out of the region. They go from, like my California friends can relate to it, Northern California, Southern California. So they will call someone in Northern California and say, hey, I need some, do you have a bundle that has this particular name on it? That's how it works. So you're going to be patient. But if we cannot find a bundle after 6 months, once you submitted your impressions and it goes to India, you get your money back. And the reason being, don't be upset that there is no bundle for you, even though we looked for 6 months, and I assure you we'll look for 6 months. Reason being, you are supposed to find your palm leaf at the right time. And your energies, according to palm leaf readings, changes every year. So if we cannot find one in 6 months, that means you got to wait till your energies have changed. So which means you can start a new search 6 months after the 6 month period where we looked for it. So that means a year after you submitted your impressions, you can do another search. And then there might be a bundle for you, okay?
Well, this was all amazing. And so thank you, Dr. Q.
You're welcome,
and some
madam.
great information. So
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody. We're live on Facebook also. You can, after the session, I have Dr. Q's information on there, and also his Facebook on there, so you can continue to ask us questions if you need.
I'm more than happy to move over to Facebook, and I mean, I don't think I have access to it, but if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them on your Facebook page.
On my Facebook page, or I also tagged your Facebook on there, your personal Facebook's on there too, so they can find you.
Yes. I know. I liked it, and I shared this one on my Facebook page and on our institute's Facebook page, in Palm Reading. You can find us on Facebook too. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you.
Namaste.
Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Big kiss from Europe. Bye-bye.